There's not one guy, one person in the history of this program that's bigger than the program.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
Ooh, what's up and welcome into episode number 67 of the Program Guys podcast. My name is Mason Prince, joined with you as always by Mark Hall, Matt Gann, Patrick Kurtzberger, no Ryan Tyson this week. Today is Wednesday, April 19th. Be sure to like, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Trying to hit, Patrick, what's the number?
1,500.
Trying to hit 1,500 subscribers. Still, people, help out the program. Help out the program so much. It costs you $0 to subscribe to the program. Helps us out more than you know. You can follow us on Twitter at Program Guys with a Z, our Instagram Program Guys with a Z, our Facebook page Program Guys Podcast. However you get your podcast, that's where you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all of that good stuff. Gentlemen, how are we doing? I'm back from the honeymoon. I'm a married man. It was amazing.
It's so good to hear your voice.
Thank you so much. You guys did a great job. The past two episodes, if you're listening right now and you didn't catch the last two episodes, they were fantastic. Everybody leading the way, leading the charge. It was great. I listened to them both on the plane. Me and Katie appreciated the shout outs for sure. But yeah, I missed you guys. I'm glad to be back. It was weird. It's weird missing episodes. I feel like, and I'm sure you all feel the same way. This is like our thing. It's our baby. So when you're not there, you have serious FOMO. I feel like I had big time FOMO for sure.
They're not going to check Matt enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like what if he goes off and I'm not there to stop it?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Every time.
Matt was big train conductor energy though.
He was
on the past two shows. Big time train conductor, like let's stay on track, move on to the next topic sort of guy. He was definitely no mess around. Isn't that right, Matt? No mess around, Matt. That's what I call him.
You know, someone had to be, right? Or we could have gone. I mean, I think we had one of our longest podcasts, the previous one. So if I didn't step in there, we probably would have gone for 2+ hours.
Mark and I just wanted to keep
have
going.
Kept having fun.
I wanted you to open up the podcast and be like 2 hours.
I honestly would have been like, if I opened it up and saw those 2 hours, I'd have been like, all right, guys, what the hell is going on? What are we doing?
What are y'all talking about for 2 hours?
Yeah.
No one's watching that.
We gave Ryan three must watches. He had them all backlogged and banked, and he was like, I'm just going to cash them in now, just cash
it was
them
a
in.
thought. Just like, hey, let's talk a little football. And then Ryan, how much do you have in the chamber? And can you bust them all today?
He's like Lil Wayne. He comes with clips, ammo. He gets in the studio. He's ready.
That's a good comparison.
Yeah,
That's a great comparison. He just freestyles.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you need 6 must watches?
Yeah.
Here we go, baby. I watched these all in the last week.
He says you need 6 from which country? He asks. Highbrowed. I love Ryan Tyson. I miss you, buddy. I hope you're enjoying your vacay. But all right, boys. Some OU football
in
news.
another country.
He is in another country. Yeah,
it's bit
exactly. OU football. Let's talk it. I've been missing it. I've been ready to talk it with you guys, and I'm super excited. So we wanted to start off with this. Patrick had an interesting text in our group text a few days ago now, and it was regarding Danny Stutzman. The Joker of Oklahoma Sooner football, as some may say. And Patrick, I'm going to give you the floor because I feel like he's kind of grinding your gears a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. As you said, the Joker is not someone who I want our number one defensive player to be necessarily, especially after the year that we just had. And so once I saw the Joker coming back around with his 3rd or 4th video on the Oklahoma Sooners football account, I got triggered. I did. I'm just kind of over the goofy videos in general. I love all like the hype videos and stuff. That's all great, but I'm over the goofiness. I don't think you can be a goofy team person content until you are winning, and we're not winning. This is a 6-7 team. There were times where Danny Stutzman personally got bullied last year, didn't set his feet right. All those things. I want him watching BYU film. I want him watching Cincy film. I don't want him making goofy videos. That's just me. That's my personal take. I got triggered. I know it's not his fault. He's great. He's kind of funny. But I just want to see football results from Danny Stutzman, and that's it.
So I agree with you and don't agree with you. So the number one thing I agree with you is that if you want to be funny and you want to be goofy guy, you got to perform, right? And some people will say he had the most tackles on the team, yada, yada. And to that I say, watch some tape. And you tell me that dude was the best player on the field last year. Tackles don't mean a whole lot to me. He also missed a lot and was in the wrong hole a lot of the times as well. But I think
Can we do that real fast?
Yeah, absolutely. Go
Who
ahead.
was better on the defense last year? Because I think I can grant you Woody. I think I can grant you Billy Bowman.
I think
And then
Jalen
who
Redmond
else
was
are we
better.
saying?
I think Jalen Redmond was better than him.
Maybe. Sure. Okay, now we're getting to enough guys where, I guess my whole thing is like he's going to be doing this whether it's an NIL deal outside of the program or
Sure.
something in the program like he's doing. They can't shut down anything that he wants to do, and most of it is just like joking around with his teammates, right?
Yeah,
It's
I think
I think.
what Patrick gets to, and Patrick, I don't want to make your point for you here, but it's like it's the optics of it, right? Like, he's your number one guy. He's the guy who's supposed to. He's the linebacker in a Brent Venables defense. He's supposed to be. People want him to be this Bosworth type figure, and he's just not, because that's not his personality. He has a big, funny, joking personality. And I know from people that I know who played with Brian Bosworth, that was not his personality. He was not a happy-go-lucky guy. People didn't really like him on the team at the time. He was kind of a jerk. Danny obviously doesn't seem to be that way. So I think you got to find the balance. Like, when it's your own social media and it's your YouTube channel, it's your NIL stuff, I'm all for it. Like, that's your deal. Go do your own thing. But as soon as the program and their social media team is like shoving this guy down my throat, that's where I'm like, all right, I get enough Danny Stutzman like on his channels. I think he does enough there.
Here's a quote from SI.com. Danny was outstanding in our bowl game. Venables started. I think it was quite obvious he's the best player in our defense. And I say that because I'm not worried about Danny, getting full of himself. But I'm also going to recognize a guy that I think we can build a defense around. And he's got a lot to improve at too, physically, fundamentally, understanding. But he's a guy that's been putting in the work, and he's fanatical about putting in work and improving. Got a great sense of desperation. Close quote.
Okay.
I'm good with it.
I know.
I'll
I
trust
disagree with some of that quote, A, but B, I don't think anyone on this team should be making goofy videos after the season they got us last year.
Matt.
Yeah, I get where Patrick's coming from. I agree with you, Mason. I think it's got to be a good balance, but I also think that when the season starts, if Danny doesn't start to perform at a very high level, he is going to have to cut it out, because you got to be able to play on the field if you're going to do these things as well, which I don't mind. If it's going to improve your brand and it's going to build a culture where all these guys can get together and laugh and have a good time. Again, these kids are 18, 19, 20-year-old kids coming out of high school. So let them have fun. But yeah, if you're not performing on the field and the season goes 6-7 again, I mean, BV's going to have to step in and cut some of that out, because you just can't have that when you're not winning any football games.
Let us know down below in the comments what you think of the whole Danny Stutzman thing that we're talking about right now. Do you think he should keep doing what he's doing? Maybe step back a little bit? Let us know. We read every single one of the comments. Mark, go ahead. I interrupted you.
No, in the outline, Patrick said he wanted this to turn into a big banter moment. And so I just want Patrick to keep his eye on the ball here instead of worrying about this sissy shit like he is. Just honestly, it's let him play football. He was the leading tackler last year. You're worrying about this random ass thing. Calm down, buddy.
Yeah, I just don't like it.
All right, good banter.
I want it to be all business.
You want to be all business. I get it.
Man, your standards are that of someone much older, Patrick.
Yeah.
Like my grandparents.
That's a compliment.
You know who was winning national titles? Patrick's grandparents. Like back in that time, OU was winning national titles.
That's true.
So maybe Patrick's
that's what it
standards
was.
are in the right place. Maybe Patrick's mind is in the right place with the standards. You know what I mean? Back in the 50s.
Mark, I thought you were gonna transition and say, who's winning championships, and then say Team 129. Let's get to the spring game.
Oh,
No,
I guess I did it.
I'm taking the break from segues. I'm done with
okay.
Mason's back. Yeah.
that was a good pushing the segue off to someone else, but making the segue your own, Patrick. I like that.
Right.
It was good though.
Yeah, it was good. Let's talk some spring game. Spring game coming up on Saturday. Who's excited? Down in the chat. Let's get some thumbs up down in the chat. We don't have a chat. I just wanted to say that because I watch Twitch stuff sometimes. I think it's fun. Spring game on Saturday. Going to be massive. They're sending out graphics to all former alum who are going to show up to the spring game. I saw Jackson Yules, who was formerly Baker Mayfield's roommate back in college. He was a walk-on fullback. So if they're sending that dude a graphic, then they're sending pretty much anyone like from previous regimes, like all the way back. If you're going to show, Dusty Dvorak had one, I know for sure. So Dusty's another guy who they gave
I saw Brendan Kitchens had one, former kicker.
Shut up. No, we didn't.
Everybody's getting one, man.
Don't lie.
He's going to be on the sideline. It's crazy.
Dude, if they sent Brandon Kitchens one, that'd be funny. I don't know what photo they'd use. Like, I just don't know.
The one of you guys like after a game.
Yeah.
Just like huddled up together.
Exactly. Bingo. I saw that one today. Popped up on my little time up. All right. So I want to talk about what you guys are most looking forward to in this spring game. So last spring game, I think we were all kind of looking forward to seeing how the running back room shaped out. I meant to go back and listen to that episode, and I didn't really get a chance to. But I think we talked some running back stuff. But for this year, just what are we looking forward to seeing? So they released the I'm going to jump a little ahead here. They released the scoring for the spring game. We won't run through all of it, but offense gets 6 points for a touchdown, 3 points for a field goal, 2 points for a punt. I don't know why they're rewarded for a punt. That's weird to me. I don't know why the offense gets 2 points for a punt. Extra point. That's essentially 2-point conversion, 2 points. That's how you get points. Defense gets points from a defensive touchdown, 12 points, 7 points for a turnover, 7 points for a fourth down stop, 7 points for a missed field goal, 5 points for a punt, sack 3 points, pass breakup 2 points. So there's a little bit of it. You can check it out on OU football social media on Instagram, Twitter. They have that entire list out there for you. So seeing this and me just a broad scope, right? Like a broad scope. It sounds simple enough, but I'm really looking to Jackson Arnold to like perform in this game, to go in there from day one and be like, look, if something happens to Dylan Gabriel, we're good. We're going to be okay. We will not have another Texas game like last year. I can promise you that. That's what I want to see. And that's the main thing that I'm hoping to see. Would I like to see some defensive domination? Of course. I mean, yeah, you'd like to see the defensive grow. But the main thing that I'm looking for is Jackson Arnold. Matt, what are you looking for?
Yeah, I think I called it a few pods ago that I said that the atmosphere was going to be even better this year, even more fans. And I did see a tweet that most of the tickets have been sold for the Pack the Palace this Saturday. So I think the atmosphere is going to be electric just as much as it was last year. Obviously, we have the statue unveiling of Kyler Murray. So I'd love to see what his statue pose is going to be, and the fans. I know they're going to do it, I think, a couple hours before the game or something of that nature. So it'll be interesting to see how much energy that is in the stadium, if it's going to be similar to last year. I'm really focused on who's going to get reps at running back. I think that's a position group on the offensive side of the ball that we're just not sure of, as well as the wide receiver crew, who's going to be able to step up next to Jalil Farouk and be that number 2, be that number 3 guy when we're missing a lot of production in both of those offensive skill positions. So some guys are really going to have to step up, and hopefully we'll see some guys emerge, because we did see some guys emerge last year in the spring game. And so we'll have to see who ultimately gets a lot of reps and see who comes out to help support those skill groups that we really need going into the season.
I just got a big feeling that we won't see a lot of Drake Stoops, Jaleel Farouk in the spring game lineup. They kind of know what they got with those guys. There's no reason to trot them out there, I feel like. Not to really avoid injury or anything, but just to see what you have in the other guys. You know, like Jaden, like you saw Jaden Gibson last year. You want to see what Angelo Anthony can bring to the table. I've seen some videos of him recently. Mark, what do you make of the spring game?
This time last year, we really had no idea what either side of the ball was going to look like. And I feel like now things are a little bit more, I don't know, as much as everything feels not settled, they are more settled. The most striking thing last season was when the offenses were on the field, Dylan Gabriel was able to run an offense. Nick Evers was not. I don't even remember. Was like Bevel wasn't there yet. I don't think. Booty wasn't there yet. I don't think. Micah, I think was there. The thing that I'm going to be looking for, and it's piggybacking off of you, Mason, is not just what Jackson looks like throwing the ball, but we're a fast offense. Is he able to operate between plays? Is he able to throw the ball, read what's happening, get to the line of scrimmage, call a play, and run it the way that we saw Dylan Gabriel do when the offense was at its best last year? If we can, then I've been barking up this tree all year. This is a bigger, maybe not competition, but someone looking over Dylan Gabriel's very short shoulders than we are really talking about. Jackson Arnold is supremely talented, and if he gets the offense, that's another level too. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. We can, Patrick, if you want to go, and then there's a laundry list of things to talk about too.
Yeah.
Both sides of the ball, I feel like.
Definitely. I want to kind of hone in on Angelo Anthony. I've just really loved what I've seen from him in his interviews this past week, and I feel like the media is creating a lot of hype surrounding him as well. I really hope he turns into one of our go-to guys. I'm focused on him in the wide receiver core in the spring game. Just want to see some production out of them.
In terms of go ahead, Mark.
That sort of gets at something about the scoring system that I don't like. And like the way that I did spring ball back in the day, you would split the two teams up. So there'd be an offense and a defense, and you run a scrimmage, right? Well, if you did that with our team, you would likely see, for example, Jaden Gibson on one side and Nick Anderson on the other. And that's your starting X receiver on both sides. You get to see who balls out.
Yeah.
You get to see who makes the plays in a situation like that. This is so convoluted and controlled that I'm sure that they're going to put guys in unique situations they want to see them either fail or succeed in. But I'd much rather just see mano a mano with our best guys and who's the better player. Think about the cornerback room. All right, so we know we have Woody Washington, right? But Jaden Davis just entered the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Who's the starter on the other side? This is a perfect opportunity for a corner to come in opposite these wide receivers, like Patrick's saying, and make a statement that he should be that guy.
I don't like the scoring system. I agree. It's just traditional, let's play each other.
It's so goofy.
Yeah, I think it's goofy too. I'm not crazy about it. I lean what you're saying, Mark. Why make it more complicated? Just make it about football. Make it as close to the real thing as you can be, so you know what you have. Like, why are we doing this Mickey Mouse BS? Just make it football. Just make it football what it is. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I'll disagree with you guys on the scoring system. I think it incentivizes players to make plays and be aggressive and not just sit back. So, because there's a lot of different ways to score points, especially on the defensive side of the ball, right? So I think this more plays to, execution, right? There is a fourth down play. Hey, you can get some points off a fourth down turnover for the defense. So I think it's all about execution on both sides of the ball. That's just going to help incentivize players. I think it is a little too convoluted. There is way too many ways to score. But I think at the end of the day, if people know that, hey, we can get a fourth down stop, or hey, if we can get into a scoring position and get this and that, I think it just incentivizes players to get out there and try a little harder during the spring game than maybe they normally would.
I think you can't simulate competition the way that, hey, we're just going to run 4 15-minute quarters of a football game, or 12 minutes, whatever you want to do.
Mhm.
And, into the first half, Jackson Arnold, lead your guys down the field. Something like that. That's sick. That's what I would love to go see. But I don't know. That's my last thing on that, Matt.
I
Good
feel
point,
like
though.
we've talked. Mark kind of mentioned the corners. And Pat, I saw that you wanted to hop in, but I wanted to mention some guys from the defense. I want to see how that linebacker room is developed. We've heard a lot of talk about how good Jaron Kanak looks in practice. He looks the part of a starting linebacker. I hope he goes out there and he balls out. I want to see how Dasan McCullough fits into this system. How is he the starting cheetah? Is he the number one guy? That's something that we're going to have to be on the lookout for as well.
And
but really,
Kobe, too.
yeah,
Kobe.
and Kobe McKenzie, absolutely. Just seeing how that linebacker room as a whole is developed, because as we all know, we've said it time and time again, this Brent Venables defense goes as his linebackers go. So if you don't have good linebackers, you know what will happen. You will be a bad defense. And the development of these linebackers can't be overstated enough. They have to be better than they were last year. As many tackles as Danny Stutzman had, they have to be better. And I think we all know that. So I'm ready to see what they look like. I'm ready to see. I know they have an entire summer to go, but they've been in this system over a year now. It's been about a year and 4 months. They should be knowing what they're doing. They should be knowing what they're doing.
If it's any indication how they feel about the linebacker room, Oklahoma offered transfer linebacker Juriente Davis out of Jackson State today. So, or maybe yesterday, but yeah.
All right.
So
Okay.
we're looking to add.
Yeah.
I think Kobe McKenzie is also going to stake quite a claim during the spring game that he should be a starter next to Danny Stutzman next year. I don't know if that's what happens. I don't know, but that I think Kobe is about to put on a show.
Yeah. Go ahead, Pat.
Someone else who I'm focused in on is Jonah Lualu. I feel like he got better and better throughout last season. It'd be great to just see his progression, what he's made in the spring, to see if he's, in the winter and the spring, if he's gained weight, if he's gained athleticism, explosiveness, because he's still someone that can be formed and be really good for this defense.
Yeah.
And they moved him inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's playing tackle now, not end. So
You want to
he can use
know
that quickness.
You want to know what I don't care that much about is the offensive line, because no matter what they trot out there is not what's going to be there the first Saturday that we play. Like, no matter, that offensive line is not a finished product by any means. You could pick some pieces out and be like, oh, that guy's good, that guy's good, that guy's good. But in terms of like a starting unit, you're going to have no idea what it looks like at this point.
I'm excited to see what Caden Green looks like physically.
Yeah.
That's one where, hey, that might be a starting guard at the end of the day. I don't think he starts a tackle, but he could steal a position.
That's a great point. Bill Beambo's going to play the dudes who deserve to play. And if Caden Green comes in there as a true freshman, he's ready to go. There ain't no green on him. He's going to throw him in there. And he's going to be ready to
He's
go.
built for it.
Oh, 100%.
Physically, at least.
Yeah,
he's
physically.
built for it, right?
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead, Matt.
I was going to say, I'm looking forward to some of the freshmen, right, as well. We got some big name guys coming in, like Jacquez Pettyway, got Peyton Bowen, got PJ on the defensive line. So which of these guys who've been highly recruited coming into this year can make an impact right away? So hopefully we see some of that explosiveness from those guys in the spring game as well, and let them loose and see what they can actually do and what impact they can bring.
Absolutely. Anything else on the spring game front before we kind of move on here?
Hell yeah, one more freshman, Caleb Hicks. in the running
Yeah.
back room.
Yep.
Javante Barnes is not playing, so man, Caleb Hicks looks gigantic. He looks like he doesn't make sense, and I want to see what he's like with the ball in his hands playing against a real defense.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to see what that running back room turns out to be, because it's not Eric Gray taking 90% of the carries anymore. You know, it's got to be someone else, and I'm just intrigued. Also, the tight ends. You know, like what's going on there? Davis Bevel was catching passes today in practice. Like,
Yeah, I don't know if that was real or what.
I don't know, but
I think it's a bodies thing.
fam, we gotta figure that out at tight end, man.
Hey, the transfer portal's open, guys. Hopefully we can get someone better than Bevel at tight end.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was a numbers thing, like Mark said, but like,
Yeah.
it's just not a great look.
That means we don't have enough tight ends playing.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah. So
Who
who
the
knows?
only one that it's Stogner. It's
I know.
Stogner. You got to hope he stays good, right?
Yeah.
You got to hope he stays healthy.
100%.
Not always a great proposition.
I know. Kyler Murray, number one in your program, number one in your heart, number two in mine. I'm a Baker guy, but number two in my heart, regardless. Kyler Murray getting his statue unveiled in Heisman Park on Saturday prior to the spring game. He'll probably be honored at halftime of the spring game like Baker was. They'll give him his moment to be in front of that giant crowd. That'll be a whole lot of fun. But we did this for Baker last year, and we threw this in here again. We're going to go through our favorite Kyler Murray moments. Everyone's going to pick one. We're just going to kind of go through it and maybe what the scenario was, what was going through our mind when it happened. And we'll go ahead and we'll start with Matt. Go ahead, brother. Favorite Kyler Murray moment?
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to take the most obvious one, but I was at the game. It was the Cotton Bowl. It was Kyler Murray leading OU to a comeback. And the play that stood out to me, that just drove me bonkers. I think it was COVID year. It was me, Mark Tyson, sitting in the stand.
COVID year.
Not
It was
COVID
before
year.
the COVID year.
Okay.
Yep.
Before that. In the stands, pretty much everyone has left at that point because OU is getting beaten down, and Kyler pretty much knows what Kyler does. And there's nobody open, takes it right up the left sideline for 60 plus yards for a touchdown,
75 yards.
outpacing every single person on that field. It is incredible how in that time period, how much quicker he was than literally anybody else on the field. And I've actually never heard probably the Cotton Bowl louder with less people in it, but how loud that stadium got. Even though we ended up not winning that game, that moment will forever be imprinted in my memory for how loud it got when he was rushing up the sideline for 75 yards and a score.
It's a great memory. It's a great memory. We'll stay on the West Coast with Patrick. Patrick, what do you got, man?
Yep. Mine was the game after OU against Kansas when Baker did the nut grab and he was suspended for the first play of the West Virginia game, the next game. And we had seen bits and pieces of Kyler Murray, but Kyler officially got the start because Baker came in the next play. But it was the first play, quarterback draw. Kyler Murray runs for 66 yards against West Virginia and gets it up to the 5-10 yard line. We score the next play. But in that game against West Virginia, he got to play towards the end as well. He went 80 total yards rushing on 3 runs, 52 yards in the air with 2 throws, including a touchdown. And just when he made that first initial run, because he started, we just looked at each other and we were like, oh, we're fine next year. We're good.
Yeah. He's the man. He's the man. Mark?
So after that 75-yard run, Oklahoma still lost to Texas in the Cotton Bowl. However, we were able to strike vengeance in the Big 12 championship game, and Kyler's performance in that game just sticks with me because it is redemption for him. The one play that sticks the hardest is the final touchdown pass to Grant Calcaterra with about 2 minutes left in the game. And Grant's just, and he brings that ball in, and it's a touchdown. Just, you can't do any better than that. You can't place the ball any better than that. That's what Kyler did. That's what he was about. Even more than the athleticism was, I can get the ball where you need it, even though I'm 5'5". It just, incredible college football player.
Sean McDonough on that call, I believe, for the Big 12 championship game. I love Sean McDonough. He's so good. I when I watch highlights back from that and I hear Sean McDonough's voice, it just makes me so happy because he's really good at what he does. Okay, so my moment is a little not really personal, but like the situation. I got to explain the story so you get the full scope of it. So it's a little spiteful, so we'll enjoy this. So
Yes.
In 2018, I was working in Roanoke, Virginia. I was covering a high school football state semifinal game in Lynchburg, Virginia. I had been dating a girl who was from West Virginia and went to the University of West Virginia, and we made plans to go see OU against West Virginia. We broke up and like didn't end up going to the game together, but she went instead and was still trying to like hang on and talk to me, even though we were broken up. It was a mess, but she kept like texting me and talking crap because West Virginia was playing well. They were number 13 at the time. And at one point, West Virginia was up. What is that? It was tied 21-21. At one point they were up. There it is. 42-38 with a minute 52 left in the third quarter. And I remember getting a text saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to win this game. How's it feel to suck?" And I remember seeing that text and I was like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say nothing. Not going to let it get to me. Just going to keep covering this game. Obviously, Kyler Murray did Kyler Murray things and the West Virginia Mountaineers imploded. Just reading Kyler's stat line from that makes me feel so good. So Kyler was 20 for 27, 364 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. On the ground, 9 carries, 114 yards, 1 touchdown, a run of 55. That is an insane stat line. And as Mark said, he's got to be one of the greatest college football players that I've ever seen. Yeah. Like, no one can do the type of things that he did in that West Virginia game. Personally willing a team to victory like that. And even in this college football semifinal game against Alabama, we were getting road dogged. And it was the Kyler Murray show. He did everything he possibly could to even make that game respectable. Just another guy, another OU quarterback who just didn't get the flowers he deserved at the time because Lincoln Riley doesn't think a defensive coordinator matters. So that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
My runner-up, and please just grant me this, is him trying furiously to come back in the Orange Bowl against Alabama after we have spotted them 28 points in the first quarter, and just seeing him against all odds, against a defense that was just more talented and better than the Oklahoma offense that year. And Oklahoma had an incredible offense that year that knew he had to pass all the time.
Yeah.
Because of that deficit. And he still does it. He still executes. He still gets the team within striking distance. And I promise you, if there's another quarter at the end of that game, a fifth quarter, a quintal, OU, Alabama's happy that there wasn't one of those because Kyler Murray pulls it off if there's more time on the clock.
Another 100-yard game for Kyler Murray on the ground, 17 for 109 and a touchdown, 19 for 37, 308, 2 touchdowns through the air. He's different, man. He's different.
400 yards himself.
Yeah, dude.
Against Bama.
He was crazy. CeeDee Lamb had 8 for a $109. CeeDee Lamb's really good.
Also different.
CeeDee Lamb is a freak. Let us know down below in the comments what your favorite Kyler Murray moment was from his career. Are you going to be at the game on Saturday? Let us know down below in the comments. We love reading your comments, every single one. Send us a shout out if you're at the game. Maybe take a pic, say program guys, boots on the ground. Let us know you're there, and we'll retweet it, like it, do all that good stuff. All right, boys. Anything else on Kyler Murray before we move on?
Yeah, I was going to say, I asked this last year about Baker's statue, but what do you think Kyler Murray's statue will be? What do you guys think? His pose, what he's wearing? What do you guys think? So
he'll have to be headband, right? He was another headband guy. I think he's got to be headband. So they did Baker running. I think Kyler will be passing. Because he has such a unique delivery. He looks so smooth with it. I think it's going to be him back to pass No helmet, obviously, but yeah, that's what I think. I think he'll be passing.
What do you think, Mark?
I think the most baller move ever would be him just after hitting a straight dinger in an Oklahoma baseball
Ooh.
jersey. Wouldn't that be the coolest
cool.
move in the world? I like just sick. I also, however, think that so I've got two options. One is there's this, and you're kind of right, Mason. I think the whole thing is he's so little that you see like his whole body in every picture.
Mhm, yeah.
But there's one, and it's this perfect straight on of him just like, I'm ready to throw the football kind of thing. And it's not from a special moment or anything. It's just a picture. That or the 75-yard run against Texas with the ball in the air.
and
That's
yeah,
an iconic
that's
thing.
the other one I thought of. Yeah. Okay. Patrick?
Yeah, give me throwing. Why not? Just back to throw. Simple.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah,
Matt?
I think it'll be the running pose. OU Texas, him galloping in the end zone. That would be a pretty epic pose. And I'm not sure if they get any type of say into what they want or how
Yeah.
it should be, but if they did, I'm sure he would pick that moment.
I love his skip into the end zone. I wish statues could float in midair because his little skips into the end zone
Where he's
are
scissor kicking kind of.
yeah, it's perfection. It's chef's kiss. I love it so much. Let us know down below in the comments what you think it's going to be. All right, some recruiting news, boys. Real quick. So we got a commitment. 2024 wide receiver Kelly, also known as KJ Daniels. He's committed to OU. 5'10", 153 wide receiver from Franklinton, Louisiana. Chose OU over Tulane, Cincinnati, and others. We'll talk about the commitment first. Look, man, I was a skinny dude in college or in high school playing wide receiver. I was bigger than that guy. That's crazy. That's crazy
It's
to
got to
me.
be a typo, right? Like,
Dude, it's
verify this.
right. I
typo.
have no idea how that is possible. The dude, I gotta look. The dude's got to run like a 4.2 or something. Like he's got to just be insane speed. Cause, man, I don't know.
He's very, very small. I am going to trust Emmett Jones's evaluation on this. That's something that the staff has shown they're pretty good at, is getting that eval right.
Yeah.
And he's a class of 2024 guy. So ideally he's coming in and taking just, that class's Jaquez Petaway spot, right? Just a speedster wide receiver that you use to stretch the field and get yourself underneath looks with your tight end, with your larger receivers. I haven't watched him play.
I haven't either.
I was preferring when our small, fast receivers were guys we were competing with Georgia against instead of guys we were competing against Tulane with. But
yeah.
I'm gonna look at it glass half full. This is Emmett Jones's first wide receiver commit, and maybe he found a diamond in the rough here.
Maybe he did. Pat.
I just had a quote from him. He said, "The moment I stepped on foot on OU's campus, it felt like home. I believe I can develop better as a player and a better man at OU." And I think that just speaks, because I see some other quotes from the article itself and On3 of just the relationship he was building with Emmett Jones and BV and the entire coaching staff. So not just his skill players. And we've seen this time and time again where it's not just your skills position coach and BV. It's everyone's involved in their recruiting, and you can see that had a big part in this guy's recruiting process. So like Mark said, first guy from the Emmett Jones era, so we'll see how it all plays out, but it never can hurt to have depth in the wide receiver room.
Pat?
Yeah, agree with everything you guys said. Just hoping that in the future we get some other kind of bodies in the room as well.
Yeah.
Because we only have two guys that are actually tall, and that's Nick Anderson and Jaden Gibson, right? And
yeah, and who knows if they're going to play? Who knows if they're even good enough to start? You know what I mean?
we don't know.
Gonna find out in the spring game, hopefully. I don't know.
Andrew Anthony is taller than 6 feet. I mean, Keon Brown is going to come in taller than 6
Talking like
feet.
6'4", like tall guys.
Keon
6
Brown's
foot.
6'3".
I'm
They
hoping.
didn't have any of those guys playing last year. They're going to find an offense.
Yeah.
Just like we did last year, even though we basically had two players that did the same thing, and Marvin Mims was just better than Farouk.
Yep. Some crystal ball news to get to. 3-star 2024 offensive tackle Isaiah Autry, 6'6", 280 from Fulton, Mississippi. This is by David Johnson, who's an Ole Miss insider. He thinks he's coming to OU. And then On3 tweeted that OU now leads for 2024 5-star defensive lineman David Stone, according to On3 RPM, which is their like confidence rating meter, I believe is what that is. David Stone then responded to that and tweeted, quote, interesting. I'm not sure what prompted this out of nowhere. So who the hell knows what's going on with David Stone, man? Who the hell knows? The dude's got OU garb in his profile picture. He retweets Michigan State stuff all the time, retweets OU stuff all the time. He's coming to the spring game on Saturday. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I am a no on David Stone. I expect him to go to Michigan State.
Really? And that's
Just from following on social media. That's my take.
So that's our PGM, our program meter, program guy meter. Sorry, guy meter. PGM confidence, Patrick. So on a scale of 1 to 10, what's the meter at? 10 being like he's coming to OU.
Yeah, I got him at a 3.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
PGM at a 3 for Patrick Hertzberger, our resident insider. So
Patrick,
I'd love to hear y'all's numbers as well.
I'm like a 7.
yeah,
He's
I'm
coming.
I'm about a 7.5. I think this is a whole lot to do about nothing. Like, I think he knows he's coming to OU. His dad constantly tweets OU stuff, like, and says stuff about his son going to OU. Like, I think he's from Del City. Like, he's gonna go to OU, man. He just is. Now, when does he commit? I don't even know. Couldn't even tell you. But yeah, Matt.
Oh, I'm afraid you bring up good points from Del City, but we've also let other OU guys in the past. Again, I know that was previous coaching regimes, but it almost gives me anxiety thinking about the players that
And that's fair.
we should keep in Oklahoma that have this type of talent. And David Stone is one of those guys. His social media, I try to stay away from because I just never know what he's doing. I think he's just trolling for most of the time.
I think he is
But
too.
I think that would be a huge loss. And hopefully this weekend, if the atmosphere is right, like I mentioned earlier, and he sees that, then hopefully that will give us the full confidence that he is coming our way. But yeah, I try to stay away because I have no idea what he's taking on a daily basis. But that would be a huge loss if he ends up leaving the state of Oklahoma for this staff.
Love it. Mark, anything else to add?
No, not really. I think I'm more confident than Patrick is by a good bit on that one.
Yeah, so the Michigan State spring game, I think, is also this weekend. So if he is coming to Norman, that's a good sign.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, who knows, man? I'm not fed up, but like trying to figure out what these 17 and 18-year-old kids are thinking is just like exhausting sometimes. It's just like, man,
Difficult.
yeah, it's like I don't know. And they know how to play the game, man. They want likes and retweets and all that stuff just like everybody else does. They know how to play the game. They're trying to grow their brand on social media. He's going to tweet Michigan State stuff so Michigan State people will keep following him and retweeting his stuff. 100%. Who knows? All right. Some transfer portal news as well. Juriente Davis.
That's the one from Jackson State that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah,
So I put
okay.
these guys. Let me
Yeah,
just
go ahead.
Yeah, let me just
Go
do
ahead.
this real fast. Juriente Davis, he's a 6'2", 225 linebacker out of
I think we need to back
Jackson
up.
State.
So these are not people that are coming to OU currently. These are people that
No, they're in the portal.
Right.
They're guys
The
we
new
need to go
transfers.
get.
Right. I was just explaining that. The transfer portal has opened up again, and these are
Yes.
people who Mark feels would be great additions at OU.
Good context.
Notably, only 2 Sooners have entered the portal in defensive lineman Corey Roberson and former starting cornerback Jaden Davis. I know that, Mason, you're not too shook up about losing that guy, but it means that there's a hole that needs to be filled opposite Woody Washington. And it means that they told him, you're not necessarily filling that hole, right?
Yeah. I think they 100% said, look, man, it's been 5 years. You ain't him. It's time.
Right.
It's time to go move on because you ain't going to start here. And I'm
Thank
sure
you for
they
your
were nicer
service.
about that. I'm jaded. Okay. Like I'm over Jaden Davis. I don't want to see him anymore. I wish him well. I wish him the best, not in crimson and cream. That's just where I'm at with him.
Well, he won't be wearing it. Some other guys passed her into Davis that I hope could be wearing it. TCU top 100 in the class of 2020 receiver Jordan Hudson. He's currently ranked number 2 on the transfer rankings for theathletic.com. He is a big time recruit sitting in the portal and reportedly had a good relationship with Emmett Jones when Jones was the wide receiver coach at Tech. Ultimately, Hudson went with Sonny Dykes to SMU and then TCU when Dykes flipped over to TCU. But man, if that relationship is still strong and you can get a body like that to add to our room, why not, right? That's numbers. That's what you want. Finally, this is a bit of a shot in the dark, but Georgia defensive tackle Bear Alexander, the guy who recorded 2 sacks in the national championship game against TCU, he is entering the portal out of Georgia, and all indications right now are that he is headed for USC. Looks like every year they're going to have the money for at least one big fella on the NIL game, and Bear Alexander might be that guy this year. He might be getting them bear paws studded out. So
Okay.
that's 3 big guys. 3 big guys that, man, if we could pull, Hudson's kind of the one that I would love to get, but be nice to pull any of them.
I'd love Bear Alexander, but man, they made a call and they did their due diligence, but like, who knows what that NIL package is like? Who knows what's being thrown at him? So I don't know. Anybody else? Anything on that? Jay Davis, I wish you well. ESPN Power Rankings. Way too early preseason power rankings for college football. OU comes in at number 11, Ohio State number 1, Bama 2, Georgia 3, LSU 4, Texas 5. Wow.
We do this every year.
I know,
Every
Matt. I
year.
was just about to say that. Matt's 100% right. We do this every year. We do. It'll all work itself out, but wow. By the way, did you see Arch Manning in the spring game?
I was just about to talk about that.
5 of 13 for 30.
Oofa.
13 for 30.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yikes.
really bad.
Oh my
And
god.
several times there were occasions where he'd be like trying to run away from a sack and he just runs into more dudes. And the defenders even are like, why are you here?
Yeah.
We would have rocked you.
Oof.
Well, they've
Yes.
already announced Quinn Ewers as a starting quarterback. That's how confident that
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that guy. So if that tells you anything.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer at that point, I feel like. USC at 7, Notre Dame 9, Penn State 10. That's Clemson 8. I should mention that. So that's who's in front of OU. Any surprises in that list that you guys are seeing? Texas A&M at 19. UCF, new Big 12 team at 26.
Yeah, the one to me is Notre Dame. I know that there's a lot of people who are, what's that quarterback's name? The one that just joined them.
Yeah. What's his name?
Sam Hartman, the Wake Forest transfer.
Mhm.
People are high on him, think he can transfer to a higher level of football, and maybe he can, but the first year of the Marcus Freeman experience did not go as planned, and there's already been a little bit of a brain drain there with last year's starting quarterback gone and offensive coordinator Tommy Rees headed to Alabama. I understand that a lot of ESPN's rankings are done through their football power index. That's why Texas is always so high, because despite the results, they always recruit well. Notre Dame is sort of in the same boat. I expect them to kind of disappoint this season and this is reflecting that they will be a top 10 team. So that's one that sticks out to me.
Matt, Pat?
My only one was I was just going to ask Patrick how he felt about his Tennessee at number 12 behind Oklahoma. How he
Yeah,
felt
I
about
think
that.
Tennessee's a little better than that. I think we are too, though. So I think the biggest surprise for me is LSU. I know they had a good end of their season. I just don't trust that process. So we'll see. Number 4 is high, though.
I think OU at 11 is fine.
That's fine.
I don't think we don't need any hype train right now. Just go about your business. Go into next season.
Make some goofy videos.
Be picked to finish 4th, and go out there and do what you do. You know what I mean? So that's
Florida State should be higher.
Yeah, Florida State I'm intrigued with. Florida State at 14 for those of you who don't know.
Everyone on that team is coming back.
Yeah.
Everyone is coming back. And are we sure Cade Klubnik is great for Clemson? Like the second coming there?
I don't know if we are.
Give me Florida State to win that conference.
Yeah. I just don't know. I think I don't know, man. I think LSU at 4 is kind of wild. I just feel like that's really high for them. I don't know,
Especially
man.
their schedule and everything too. You can't have Bama and LSU and
Yeah.
UGA 2, 3, 4. Like one of those is
Yeah.
going to be 7, 8.
Well, and we know that
They're like,
preseason
watch.
rankings are just a guessing game. They just guess, and then of that Bama, UGA, LSU, one of those is going to be at least one of those is going to be in the playoff. So then they can be like, "See, told you so." Like we were right to have these guys ranked high. It's going to be something like that. So, but whatever. Let us know down below in the comments what you think of that poll. By the way, all right, Jalen Hurts news: Oklahoma or Alabama quarterback? Who knows? Eagles and
Well,
Jalen
his
Hurts.
agent's in Oklahoma sooner, so
That's right. Bingo. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles reached an agreement, 5-year, $255 million contract extension, including $179 million plus guaranteed. Woo! That's
I love it.
a whole lot of money, man.
Highest paid
That's
player in the NFL at $51 million per year.
Dude, that's great. Great for Jalen, man. I'm super happy for him. Like, that's amazing. Also, Nicole Lynn, Clutch Sports program gal, University of Oklahoma alum. Apparently she graduated the same year I did. Shout out to both of us. We're both crushing it. Both absolutely crushing
You
it.
sure are.
Yeah, exactly. But good for Jalen. He deserves the payday. I mean, he brought him to the Super Bowl. Like, if you're the Eagles and you want quarterback stability, that's the price of quarterback stability in today's NFL, man. It's just making a guy the new highest paid player. Jalen Hurts will be the highest paid player for 8 months. And then
Less
it'll be
than
and then it'll be a new guy.
we got Joe Burrow,
Yeah.
Tua Tagovailoa, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, all coming up right now, waiting for extensions. Smart by the Eagles to get ahead of it.
Oh, for sure. 100%. Matt, Pat?
I'm happy for him, obviously. I think this also impacts Lamar's contract situation because now that they know what the next benchmark is with this contract for Jalen Hurts, what are the Ravens going to do, or what other team is going to offer Lamar Jackson? Because he wants guaranteed money, and he's seeing Jalen Hurts' contract at 179, and he's probably going to want something similar. So who's going to pay it up? Will be interesting to see how it affects Lamar's decision or impact on which teams will take him or not.
So much money. Go ahead, Pat.
That's just way too much money. I mean, I love Jalen Hurts, but that's way too much money. I didn't think he was going to create a new, barrier or break Patrick Mahomes' deal. But that's pretty wild. I wouldn't pay any top 7 quarterback that much money right now.
So there was a bunch of the Miami Dolphins reporters that I follow. One Joe Shad wrote an article basically comparing hey, Jalen Hurts just set the market for a quarterback. Let's see how his stats compare to Tua's. since they entered the league at the same time, and they are strikingly similar. Granted, Jalen Hurts has won playoff games, been to the Super Bowl, so you can go ahead and put that check mark next to his name. But like in terms of starts and yardage and touchdowns and interceptions and all that, they're strikingly similar. And I love Tua, but if the Dolphins put that contract in front of Tua Tagovailoa right now, I'd be like, what are you doing? You need to calm down.
Yeah.
But I mean, Jalen, once you have that Super Bowl, like I've been there, check mark next to your name, that gives you a lot of credibility in the NFL, like a lot. And if anyone knows what they're doing, it's Howie Roseman. I feel like that guy knows how to run his team. I feel like you can't really question what he does sometimes. Mark? I thought you wanted to jump in. My bad.
No, it's smart management. Like I said, and good call calling out Howie Roseman. This is a guy who extended Carson Wentz, realized he wasn't the guy, and pivoted to Jalen with a quickness, right?
Yep.
He sees the board a little bit ahead of a lot of these other NFL GMs, and that's why he got this job done first, right? He's not pussyfooting around like the GMs of the Chargers, the GM of the Ravens. That's a different thing, right?
Yeah.
But the Bengals don't have enough money to give Joe Burrow all of the guarantees that they're going to have to guarantee him.
Yeah.
And by getting it done first, Jalen Hurts is going to make the least, but the Eagles get out like bandits.
Yeah, 100%. Matt, Pat, anything else to add on Jalen?
Nope.
Okay, love it. Let's move on to Circle the Wagons real quick. We got a natty to talk about, Matt. A natty.
Woo, natty alerts.
Oh.
Gotta talk about it, guys. The first thing that happened, or we have to talk about, is OU's women's gymnastics in Fort Worth this week in the NCAA championships against Utah, Florida, and LSU, edging all three of those teams out for their second and back-to-back title in the last 2 years. That is also their sixth title in the last 9 years. 6 out of 9. Mark, tell us a little bit more about the gymnastics program. What do you think? 6 out of 9. Is that just pure dominance? Is that luck? What do you think?
I mean, obviously there's a little bit of luck involved in it, but that kind of extended run that you can have, it shows, hey, program guy Ryan Heil has been on that point for longer than anyone. The best coaches in the OU program reside on the women's side of things.
Yeah. Because
you look at 6 out of 9 in softball, infinity out of less than infinity in softball. We win more than there is in softball, right? Women's basketball goes on runs. Jenny has that program primed to continue improving.
They're humming.
They're humming, man. It's all over the place. Hey, the stretchy gals were stretchier than the boys were, at least. Am I right, Matt?
They were.
That is right. And we'll get to those in just a little bit, but I want to speak on the other women's program that you mentioned, because the women's side of things are just absolutely crushing it. And you mentioned one of them, that's OU softball, currently improving to 39-1 overall. The last 2 years, they've had the exact same record through 40 games. They've been 39-1 in each of the last 3 years. That's incredible. And I'll get to some more stats here in just a second, but they recently beat ranked number 12 LSU 3-0. Jordy Ball had 13 Ks, 13 strikeouts in that shutout against LSU. Just an absolutely dominant performance by one of the many pitchers that OU has in their repertoire. So they just continue their pitching staff to shut down opposing bats. They also beat Louisville 10-1 and beat Miami of Ohio 13-1 and run ruled them both in the 5th and 6th innings. And just to give you some just more ridiculous stats for what this OU softball team is doing, they're 16-1 against top 25 teams, 21 wins versus run rule, 342 runs scored, only 35 runs allowed. They have 76 home runs, 23 shutouts, only 10 errors. But I think the biggest stat that sticks out to me is they have a 319 strikeouts through 241 innings. Guys, there's only 3 outs per inning. That is a ridiculous stat to have for 4 different pitchers who are playing absolutely lights out, and probably a couple All-Americans in there as well. And oh, by the way, they're on a 31-game win streak. So they just continue to dominate as they continue with Big 12 play this week against a Baylor squad in Waco. So against Ryan Tyson's Sikkim Bears. So we will see how they own up. Also, speaking of OU softball, there was a draft last night for the Women's Professional Fast Pitch League, and Alex Torraco got the first overall pick going to the Oklahoma City Sparks. She's been playing lights out as one of the pitchers for OU's women's. Haley Lee also selected by the Oklahoma City Spark later on. And Grace Lyons was drafted by Team Smoke out of somewhere in Texas. I can't remember where, but 3 Lady Sooners will continue their softball into the professional world with likes of Jocelyn Allo and Lauren Chamberlain, who's also I think an ambassador. I don't know if I think she plays, but she was there at the draft last night as well. So it's good to see these girls will continue to play even afterwards. Moving on to some other sports, women's tennis. They are the Big 12 regular season champs after beating Kansas State 4-0, beating Kansas 4-2. They have improved to 18-8 and will enter the Big 12 championship this weekend in Lawrence, Kansas. Switching over to the men's side, Mark mentioned it, the Stretchy Boys were not stretchy enough as they ended up coming in 4th in the NCAA championships behind Stanford, who ended up winning it, Michigan, and Illinois. They did have 4 All-Americans overall, which is a pretty much phenomenal feat to have, but they continue dominance as well, as they always continue to be a program that ends up being in one of the final 3 or 4 teams at the end of it. So I know they will bounce back and come back strong for next season. OU's men's tennis recently beat Baylor 4-0, lost to Texas Tech 2-4, so they are 13-10 overall. They will also head to the Big 12 championships, just like the ladies Sooners in Lawrence, Kansas this weekend. And the last program here, which is just kind of a bit wah-wah all season, OU's men's baseball, 19-18, beat Wichita State, but then lost a 3-game series, losing 2 out of 3 to Texas Tech, and they will play OSU before an 3-game series in Austin, Texas. So they continue to just kind of be home and hover around that 500 mark. But I believe someone brought up last week that OU baseball did something very similar this year. I think we have to be patient, and they got hot at the right time last year and ended up making a pretty good run. So hopefully that will be the same case. But congrats to a lot of the mini programs, especially the women's gymnastics, for another title this year. That is Circle the Wagons.
Love it. Thank you so much, Matt. Let's wrap it up. Wrap up the show. Go ahead, Mark. What were you going to say, Mark?
Just that Matt was great.
Yeah, Matt was great. Matt was good. The West Coast does Matt well. All right, let's go ahead and wrap it up with our PGP MVPs of the week. Pat, we'll start with you, brother.
Yep. I'm going to manifest an MVP. We've never done this, but I hope this guy's our MVP.
We'll see.
A lot. I'm just going to go with Jackson Arnold. Pre-MVP. He's going to kill it this weekend, and I hope he's my MVP next week as well.
I love it. This is the first program we've ever thrown down.
I think so.
Wow.
That was the first pre-MVP that we've ever had.
Yeah.
No, you just ruined it, man. I don't think this is going to prove to be a good thing.
I hope I didn't jinx us.
No, I don't think you did. All right, Mark Hall.
Yeah, I'm going to go with, so we don't talk too much basketball on the pod these days, but the NBA playoffs are going on, and you guys might have watched on Monday night, the Warriors played the Kings, and the Kings, in a heroic fashion, vanquished the Warriors again, leading to a 2-0 series lead. My MVP is Domantas Sabonis. He was getting rocked all night by the physicality of the Warriors defenders, namely Draymond Green, who the slam, the stomp on Sabonis's ribs.
What a loser.
I thought that was more egregious than anything Draymond's done to this point. And that we're not talking suspension is actually pretty surprising to me. That said, Sabonis came back, played through it, and was instrumental in that lead. My pre-GP MVP of the week, Domantas Sabonis.
Adam Silver's a coward. That's just all I have to. I mean, Domantas Sabonis, yes, but Adam Silver's a coward. The fact I'm going to get on my pedestal here because I have a major problem with everything Draymond Green chooses to be. And that the media, the NBA media, continues to trot Draymond out year after year after he continues to do crappy and terrible things on the basketball court. He's going to be on NBA on TNT once the Warriors get bounced. He's going to be right on that desk with Kenny and Chuck and Shaq once again after doing this bull crap on the court. And we all saw it. He's yelling at the crowd like a certified psychopath after he gets thrown out, like he's proud of what he did. What a moron. He's unhinged. And we continue to give him platforms to talk about how level-headed and like how smart and wise he is. Like, no, shame on Colin Cowherd's network for giving him a podcast. Shame on the NBA on TNT for keeping him on the air on NBA on TNT. He's a joke. He's an absolute joke. And I don't want to see him anymore. Triple single for life. What a bum. Next. I'm sorry. I'm over him. I strongly
No, that was a
dislike
great
him.
rant. That was a great
That was really
Mason
good.
rant.
That was good.
Yeah, that was a good Mason rant. Yeah. All right, Matt, who's your MVP?
Well, first, I know you just rant. Did you like my rant last week on the pod? Give me like a 1 out of 10 for comparableness to, because I was trying to imitate you last week. So
Were you? Were you?
Yeah,
I
I,
don't
guess
think
it didn't
you-
go that well.
I don't
That
think
tells you
ranted.
everything. Yep, that's me. So my MVP, there was only one.
Did you
maybe
rant?
two.
When did you rant? What was it about?
Okay, see.
Oklahoma City making the playoffs. They were my PGP MVP last week.
Oh, okay. Maybe
Yeah,
I just
I
didn't
told
get to
you
the end.
Up and
I told
Maybe I
y'all he
just
didn't
didn't
get
get to
that
the
far.
end.
I told y'all.
Yeah, probably after
Maybe I
like
didn't
an
get to
hour
the
and a
end.
half, you were
I
probably
got
like,
so the first episode I was gone all the way through. The second one we
Probably the
we
second one, yeah.
landed like 3/4 of the way through the show, like right before MVPs. So then I shut it off and
go back and listen to it. Let me know what you
I
think.
will. I'll go listen to it right now,
Mason
actually.
rant.
yeah, go
But
ahead.
my PGP is three people actually. It's Patrick, Becca, and their dog Baker. I am a guest of their home in California for the week, so they are letting me stay, work, and hang out and have a little vacation. So those are my three MVPs.
Baker.
And the good boy, if you're watching on YouTube, me and Patrick have been doing this in the same box here together as one, and it's been great getting that
Two guys-
sunshine.
2 guys, 1 box, man.
That's
Love
right.
it. Love it. All right, my MVP, my PGP MVP is the Boston Celtics. Repping them C's right now. They are currently, as we're recording this, playing the Atlanta Hawks. They're up by I think 9 in the fourth quarter. They already won game 1. They're up 1-0, trying to make it 2-0. The chase for banner 18 continues. Hopefully they can get it done, but I like where this team's at. Rob Williams coming back at the right time, healthy, ready to go. Rob Williams, you got to love it. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown had a great game 1. That duo, it looks fantastic. Derek White looks to be the scoring that they needed away from Jalen and Jason. Marcus Smart continue to hit big threes when it matters. So yeah, Celtics, my PGP MVP of the week. Let us know down below in the comments who your MVP of the week is. And that is going to do it for this week's show. Thank you so much for watching or listening, however you watch or listen. Be sure to like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can follow us on Twitter at Program Guys with a Z, our Instagram Program Guys with a Z, our Facebook page Program Guys Podcast, however you get your podcast, that you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and all of that good stuff. We're going to have a somewhat post-game pod after the spring game. We're trying to figure out the time and date for you guys on that. Stay tuned to all of our socials. We'll announce that when we have that locked down, but we're going to get everybody to check out the spring game, give you guys some thoughts on the spring game once that's over. And yeah, it should be a fun time. So stay with us on that. That's going to do it. Pat, take us out.
Keep pushing it, baby.